critique. You know, it's like we go to silly land during campaigns. And after the campaign is over and you have your politicians in place, you're supposed to go back to the ancient wisdom that the 0.01% is always the enemy. They always get us building some pyramids. They always get us building some tunnels for them and putting big, massive doors on them so we can't go in. Like that site in Europe, Turkey. And they always get us to working like slaves, forced labor, you know, using our tax dollars to make massive bunkers so they can go in, close the damn door, and don't let us come in. So it was a rough night though. So I voted Green Party. I didn't look at my three. I don't want to, man. I was depressed. I was so sad, y'all. You know, this is why you don't open your big mouth. I was opening my big mouth. I was talking about the Bernie crap, and I wasn't a Bernie crap, but I love Bernie. I listened to Bernie speak because he said things that actually made sense. He spoke revolution. That's my word. I love that word, revolution. Ron Paul talked revolution. To be honest with you, Trump to a small degree was talking it was states' rights, and it wasn't, you know, it didn't really pan out, but he talked it. Obama talked a revolution. You know, I'm a change candidate person, right? If today hurts the world, if today is hurting the world, if we're murdering kids all over the planet and nobody seems to give a damn, not enough people, nobody in power gives a damn, then today is broken. Today does not work, and today completely has to stop. So, so I'm always a change candidate person. My presidents never win. I don't have any sort of, I have no campaign ego, which is probably why I'm not upset. You know, in any election, I'm never upset. And I'm always with whoever won. All right, whoever won, let's give them a chance. Let's get it going. You know, but if today is broken, then today can't stay. Today has to go. And today has to go. It totally has to go. And my roots going back to libertarianism. But like I said, I was a Democrat for a time. I was Republican, Libertarian, Independent, Constitutional Party. I didn't jump to all of them. So, but something reoccurred to me I want to talk about today. And I know people see cannabis, now I'm already probably getting flagged and censored like, oh my God, explicit. He's going to talk about drugs. He's going to talk about the stuff that we ate for damn near 200 million years. No, I'm not really going to talk about it, but it's a segue into our way out, right? So, but anyway, I voted for Jill, and I never gotten a pop-up. For one of her fireside chats in a long time, many months. And I got one last night, so I decided to click over. Just, you know what? I've never seen Jill. I thought Jill stopped talking. I didn't know what was going on, so I clicked to watch. And before I get into it, I want to kind of explain, because I have a lot of friends that are international now. So how does this relate to you? America has lost control of their government. Right? Their government doesn't do anything that they want. None of their presidents do anything that they want. And when they do something that the voters wanted, it's because there's a hook or crook for Wall Street or a bank or a corporation to actually get some gain out of it. So no politicians in America are coming together on anything Americans need, because Americans have no control of their government. Their government is completely rogue. And when I say that, I'm talking the federal government. I'm not talking the state governments. The federal government is completely rogue. The federal government is actually at war with their people. So this applies to you, because if Americans don't get back in control of their government, you're going to die. I'm just going to let you know right now. Now, Americans will be the last to die. They'll put us in cages and get back to whipping us, enslaving us, and all that stuff. Then we eventually will die. But if Americans don't get back in control of their rogue government, which does not give a damn about you, your children, they're there to rob, murder, rape, they could care less, you're going to die. So it's important for you, if you're not in America, to pay attention to what's happening in America. That's the only way that we will get America out of your country, right? And And when I say America, it's not just America, because you got the little brother Britain, little brother Britain, and you got you got Germany and you got France, who's a little hesitant, but you still got the colonizers colonizing. It's just America excels at being an imperialist and a colonizer. And so what happens in America is important to you. So pay attention. There's some Americans that don't get it, and they might listen to you because they don't seem to listen to me. They don't listen to us. Me, my friends will try to talk to our family and friends, and they're just like off in cuckoo land. They're just, oh, we gotta gun control. They're just, oh, we gotta for-profit healthcare. We just got, they're always off in these silly places, and maybe they'll listen to you. So anyway, this is where I was going. So last night I clicked on the fireside chat. I was watching Jill Stein. I was passively doing some other things, typing and listening. And all of a sudden I started hearing her talking about Russia. It's like, uh-oh. So I tuned in. Oh my Lord. I wish I didn't tune in. That thread went on and on. It might still be going on. I can't look at it. I got so sad. So, she was talking common sense stuff, about how the elections were rigged and the voting machines aren't secure and all of this stuff, which is true. Everybody knows, the Republicans were doing their little sneaky election stuff and the Democrats doing their sneaky elections. So she was going on. I was like, man, Jill's still on it. Jill is still telling the truth. And she got up to a point and she was just like, I put the exact quote out there and I had to change it because I heard something. I was like, oh my God, I flipped out. I was like, dude, what's going on? The world's going to end. I was flipping out, tears coming out my eyes, got sad, started typing. And apparently it got a little attention. And so I had to go back and re-listen. I put the exact point in her live stream where you can hear her say it and the exact precise quote, but she was talking about election interference. And she made the point that something about, in my mind, the Russians did interfere with the election. That set me off. It just lights and clicks and bops was going off in my head. I was flipping. I was like, we lost Jill. We done lost it. What happened, girl? What happened to you? But then I listened to the whole rest of the broadcast. But by the time the broadcast came to an end, I kind of think I started to kind of get a sense of maybe what was happening. And some other people were chiming in. I appreciate everybody giving their perspectives. And this is my analysis. I had a chance to sleep on it. Got some good coffee right here. Thank you, by the way. I got my Vermont coffee. She obviously was a little shakier than what she's ever been, right? She obviously was something wasn't right. And she went, basically the entire broadcast was about how we shouldn't be sanctioning Russia. We shouldn't be singling out Russia. We definitely can't have a war with Russia. None of this was any act of war, and all of that is nonsense. But then she slips in, Russia did interfere, in my mind. So she contradicted, but it makes me think that she's kind of being forced to say something. When things don't make sense to me, it makes my conspiracy bone jump up, right? Like how Bernie said all that real smart stuff, and then he became a little Clinton, right? How Trump said some good stuff. Now, he's a rich prick, all right? He's all right. So of course you're gonna get nonsense from him, and he is a Twitter troll. But then he actually now is doing everything Obama did. Obama said some wonderful stuff, and then he went off and did, what the banks told him to do. So anytime I see something that doesn't make sense to me, my conspire bone kicks in, right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm a conspire bone, which, by the way, I appreciate like real definitions, like even Ty mentioned. What does conspiracy theory means? It just means that somebody had a plan to do something. It doesn't mean that it's fake. You have this idea in your head because you're brainwashed and they indoctrinate you to think that conspiracy theory means aliens. No, it doesn't, damn it. It just means somebody had a plan. Somebody had a project plan, and ahead of time, they conspired, got together, didn't talk to other people about what they were going to do, and they rolled the plan out. That's what conspiracy theory actually means. So to me, it sounds like she's kind of being forced to make some statements. She mentioned on purpose later in the broadcast that she's under investigation and that they're smearing her there. She's under investigation for Russian collusion. That obviously is not something you want to play with, not when it comes to deep state in America, because these people, they will put you under the prison. They will disappear you. They've killed presidents, right? These are the same people that killed JFK. So I don't know what's happening. in terms of the Green Party and Jill and all of that, but it's not good. It's not good. And I finally kind of like thought about it, and this is where a lot of my green friends aren't good. Well, you know what? I don't want to. I'll call you a green friend. I'm not a green friend. I'm not in the Green Party, right? I'm not in any party. I'm not any group. I'm not any clique. I'm completely. I think after the elections, you shouldn't have any membership to any guilds. I think you give that up. You can follow different people, but I'm not going to be in a guild. You don't have my vote. After the campaign is done, you need to be spending the rest of your time figuring out how to get my vote, assuming I believe in voting. So, but there are people who are still like locked into the Green Party, and I'm okay with that. The Republicans, Democrats, whatever. But she mentioned that investigation, so I kind of think something's going on there. The end of my analysis on what I saw, which I know the Bernie crats were laughing at me. They're like, you laughing at Bernie? This is what you got, you bastard, bastard Gerard. Is that, does it really matter? You look at what all of these politicians do. In my world, it is my belief that the billionaires and the trillionaires that run this world, the oligarchs, the banks, they don't let American presidents do what they want. They don't let any key American politicians do what they want. They buy them and force them to do what they want. And if they don't do that, they will make sure they get them out. They're not always killing them and disappearing them, but they'll put money into their opposition to make sure that they can't get out. In America, if y'all not listening from internationally, in America, money wins elections. Bottom line. Doesn't matter what you have to say, doesn't matter what your message is. Every now and then people are so disgruntled that a change candidate will win, but in general, money always wins. And so if you are going up against too many corporations, too many banks, then that means that you're not going to win. And so this is how I think they pretty much bought the American government, is they force them out with money. So you have to make certain deals or whatever, or they get things on you. They find out when you were a kid, you did something, you ran over somebody with a car, you smoked some cannabis, your brother did something stupid, and they threaten you. To me, that's very logical, right? This is what organized crime did. It's what the mafia did, and it's how the American government's always. It's how most governments work, actually, right? It's influence, leverage. So to me, it kind of seems that somebody somewhere has leverage, perhaps. It's not leverage, it's a scared Jill. And so she's kind of on that Russian narrative. Everybody else too, which is probably better than every other position I've heard, but she's on that too. And I think to me, it's a demonstration of how powerful the deep state is and the fact that we don't control any of these people and they're rogue, but also it's a statement of, in order to have change, we actually can't have anybody that's scared of the deep state, right? Like, that's what it comes down to. And I got an idea, y'all. I think I got a way to change this. I'm thinking about the revolution we need to have. It's a peaceful one. It's a peaceful one. But I was thinking about this. But so I'm concerned for Jill. That's what I am. That's where I am. That's my position on Jill. Is I'm very concerned because we need somebody who can go up against them. If you have anything in your past that they can pull up and get you to do the complete opposite, like Trump and Obama, Clinton. Well, I don't remember Clinton. I didn't remember that too much. I didn't like him from the beginning. When he was like in the ghetto kissing black babies, playing the saxophone. Listen, I know a player when I see a player. That's a player. You got this guy running around DC, playing the saxophone, little black kids, ain't got no shoes and socks, and and homeless people, and kissing these little kids. Come here, little nigga, baby. Who's the comedian who said that? I know a player when I see one. Clinton is a player. Anytime I see somebody who's trying too hard, I know they're up to something. So, but they scared her. They got something on her. The investigation's too deep. Somebody in her campaign said something, did something they weren't supposed to do. And so you can see it. So we'll have to see how that plays out down the road, but we need a real fix. We need a real fix to our problem. It's not the player that's the problem. It's the system. Talked about it yesterday. We can swap out Trump for Jill. Do you actually think things are going to change? If Hillary was in and Trump wasn't in, do you think Hillary would actually be doing anything different from Trump? If Jill were in and Trump weren't in, do you actually think anything significant? Not that, because I think there's a little 0.1% that they let the presidents do. They pick the jello and might be able to put some mortar on a bridge or something. But do you really, really actually think anything would be significantly different? Do you really, really actually think the men who could kill a man as powerful as JFK with as many powerful friends as he had, do you think the men that could kill Martin Luther King with all the friends he had, as powerful he had, and the big following he had, do you think that these men would actually say, you know what, Trump won, we're gonna back down. You know what, Hillary won, we're just gonna back down. You know what, Jill Stein won, Gary won, Gary was it not Shandling? What's his last name? Johnson. He won. We're gonna back down. We're just gonna go ahead and lose trillions of dollars while you bring some change to America. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way, people. So don't hate the player, hate the game. And sometimes I get roped into it, you know, because I'm a human. We all get roped into it, and we got to look at where we are and make some determinations. And I kind of got a little roped into it yesterday. My emotions came out. I cried a little bit under my covers. But back to a sense of just reality. It's the system that has to change. The system has to change. And the only way to change the system peacefully, right? You know, you got people talking some sort of violent revolution. Count me out. Not your man. Not your man. I'm the wrong person. Don't knock at my door. I have zero interest. I understand what both parties have been rolling out for the last 20 years, right? They've been rolling out a police state that you could have the whole Russian military behind you and you will not win. You're not going to win. You're just going to get a lot of people killed talking violence in America. So we need a peaceful revolution. And it just occurred to me. I forgot what another community used to talk about. And it was the libertarians when I used to work with them. So, and don't let your identity be triggered by this word. I'm going to say a word. Everybody I want you to clean your plate for a minute. Pretend that you never heard this word before. Pretend you don't know nothing about this word. Some of y'all may not know nothing about this word. The word is called nullification. Nullification is how we get out of this. And this leads me into what I want to talk about in terms of how cannabis got us here, right? So the one thing, no matter who you are, that you have in common with most of the Trump voters right now is states' rights and nullification. This is how this country is designed to work. This country is designed to work by the states making their own choices. And it's kind of how, like, the education system is designed, and even policing from state to state. When you have different factions, right? Different factions of a republic that are all making decisions. You know, we in Pennsylvania can look over you in Maryland and say, you know what? We like how you're doing that. We're going to change and do things the way you're doing it. We can look at Illinois and say, no, what? We don't like how you guys are doing that. We don't want to do that. And so what happens is it bubbles up to the top. The best types of systems bubble to the top. And that's the beauty of the design of a republic. But when you have a massive federal government on the top that's pushing everything down, then you have a single point of failure. If you have corporations in Wall Street that buy the federal government, then the states have no rights because they're pushing everything down. So in terms of cannabis, why does this exist? I'm in a grow room, but outside of why I'm in a grow room, this is not a natural way to grow cannabis. Don't do that. I'm gonna tell you in a minute. This is not medicine they're growing. This is like a plant that they're growing under fake grow lights because they made, you know, growing the plant illegal, which was illegal to make it illegal, but we'll talk about that. But the fact that you have medicinal cannabis being grown in multiple states, what, 24 states now, all over the United States, where the federal government said this is illegal, this is still a Schedule 1. This is still completely illegal in the federal government's imagination. But what the states enacted was nullification. Beautiful word. I know some of y'all will go back to slavery with it. Just put that away for a minute. Listen to don't blame the tool for whatever happened that bothered you. Think about the power and the checks and the balance in the system that was created. So the states have the ability to nullify any federal law that gets handed down. And they can say no. They can say no to anything they want. They can say no to war. They can say no to no. You will not be taking our National Guard to war, you know, because that is that is related to the states. The federal government actually has pretty much no power, none whatsoever. I'm gonna play something to you. There was a brother. Let me explain this to you. It was a brother by the name of Tom Woods. I don't know if you guys ever watched anything from Tom Woods. I used to follow him. And I still kind of do. He is, I'm over here, I'm gonna go to Machu Picchu for a minute. No, that's not Machu Picchu. Yeah, Machu Picchu, Pum Pum. I forgot which one. I'm a giant, which is okay. Giants exist, Joe. I'm gonna tell you. I want to talk about some silly stuff, but giants do exist. Here, watch this.
So basically, the idea is this. So it comes down to the insight that the federal government cannot.
I'm gonna pause for a minute because I'm gonna put my headset on, because this is the only way I can get you.
The federal government cannot be expected to limit itself. You know, now I can understand somebody being skeptical of this in 1790. But, you know, we have a little bit of experience in this area now, and I think this is rather an understatement, if anything. So something outside itself, the average person could understand it. You don't need the leave it to the court strategy worked. It cites the Commerce Clause. The Commerce Clause, it takes up about this much space in the Constitution. It takes up this allowed to have a monopoly on determining what its powers are.
That's it. That's it. Take my headset off. So this is what I'm talking about. So there are a couple places you can go online and get a little more information. The 10th Amendment Center is an awesome website. So we got a couple options. You know, there are people, their identity politics will kick in, and it's like, well, I heard that word nullification, it's a bad word, and they use that, the states' rights when it came to the civil rights, the Civil War. The fact of the matter is, it's just a tool. And our options are very simple. We can either sit around and wait and hope that the federal government decides to fix itself, or we can actually fix it and we can nullify. And that's what I think, hold on, that is the answer. I'm having some, looks like we got a little slowness. Am I laggy? Can you guys see me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I want to talk to myself. I'm lagging. Let me shut some things down. So you can't expect the federal government to police itself. It's an illogical, nonsensical thing to do, because we're collapse, because you know it's coming. It is coming. Very few people disagree with that. Some sort of collapse is coming, whether it's a financial one, the dollar, if it's just people finally flip out and revolt. Where bad things are heading our way because we've let corporations take over our government, and corporations have no vested interest in our future. Their only job is to make money for their shareholders. So they make all these decisions, and that's what's actually got us here. And so the rightful solution to get past this stuff is nullification. It's the only way we can peacefully have a revolution. And this is what I'm talking about. I am talking about go back to this other screenshot. I'm talking about we need the only revolution based in love, and the only revolution based in peace, where you're not going to get millions of people killed, if not more. Can you imagine if America actually broke down in some sort of a violent outbreak or conflict? What do you think is going to happen in the world? What do you think Russia's going to do? What do you think China's going to do? What do you think Iran's going to do? What do you think Israel's going to do? What do you think is going to happen if Americans get so busy that they're fighting and falling apart in their own country? The World War III will start. Everybody will lose their damn mind. Whether we like what America does or not, it doesn't matter. Most borders are sustained around the world right now because they're scared to death of America. America is a monster and a bully, and just evil to the core because we don't want to restrain it. We restrain it by picking up the tool of nullification. And this is what you have in common, whether you voted for Trump or not, with most Trump voters that I know anyway, because they believe in states' rights. Trump doesn't believe in states' rights, but they do. They want to be left the hell alone. This is what we talk about, self-determination. And so the interesting thing is everything builds up. And so this has been used various times in history. Another time they were using it with for-profit healthcare. Right? There were states that didn't want to open up, and I don't know all the details on it, but they use it with for-profit healthcare. Don't get lost in how it was used in the past and get upset. Think about, in order to move forward, we need peaceful solutions to stand down the federal government. And I was seeing that because I was processing in my mind. I was thinking, man, how do you do this without starting a war? How do you do this? And it just occurred to me yesterday. I remember I used to follow the 10th Amendment Center, and it made perfectly good sense. There's no way that the states are going to get together and say, okay, federal government, you don't exist. We're going to put pause on you right now. We're going to fix the Constitution so you can't get out of control again and go off murdering a bunch of people and put them in prison and just violating the Constitution and managing yourself. The states aren't going to do that. The people have to do that. And so what we need to do is we need to start putting people in place that are talking nullification and nullify what? Pretty much every damn thing. But mostly what you in your state don't want to have to tolerate and deal with. You know, that's up to you working probably from a local level up to a state level of building a society in your state that works for you, right? There are states that could have universal health care. There are states that can have carte blanche free Texas style gun rights. There are states that can have all these different things. And so the neat thing and about how a republic is designed to work is that you don't live in a state where you think they're crazy. And this is how we all get together, right? You don't live in a state where you don't like the laws. You move to another state or you fight to have your state laws changed. But I think it all starts with peacefully nullifying all the things the federal government's been doing in your state that make no damn sense. And a lot of states have a lot of nullification efforts up, but the most successful in history right now is cannabis. Now talk about another aspect to it. So, but why did the states bow to the federal government? The states bow to the federal government because the federal government buys them off. That's what they've been doing, right? Going back, talked about it yesterday, the Welfare Reform Act and how they just give billions of dollars to the states to do what they want them to do. That actually is combated by cannabis. That's combated by hemp. Why? Well, because the states can make billions, like Colorado being a great example. The states can make billions of dollars in revenue off of natural medicines like cannabis and the other things, right? While you're still scared of the federal government and they got to have state programs to protect their growers and their dispensaries from the federal government, they can make billions of dollars. Now, I'm not for making medicines expensive. I'm totally against that in every way, shape, and form. I completely am. But we are in a tough spot, y'all. We're between a rock and a hard place. We have to have solutions that actually make sense, that don't involve people getting guns and fighting and people in the street yelling at one side of the populace, yelling at the other side. We need to shut them down. And the way you shut them down is, one, you stop talking ignorant about cannabis. That's number one. Can you go with me on that? Stop talking ignorant. If you don't understand what cannabinoids are and you don't understand what natural medicine is, do your homework. But we need programs to fund states so they don't have to take the billions of dollars from the federal government. Because you can try to nullify all you want. If your state is cash poor and the federal government sending money with Department of Education or whatever it's for, the state's not going to stand up to any of it. Right? So you have to one, empower the states to have the ability to stand up to the federal government. You have to stand behind them in doing that. But then you have to start to nullify across the board all the unconstitutional things that the federal government's up to. Nobody should be above the law, not even the rich and powerful. Lordina. Yes, exactly, sister, and thank you. And that's really what we're talking about, because corporations are now people and they are above the law. When do they go to prison? When do they really ever pay taxes? They siphon money out of the country and they set up tax shelters in other countries. So we are being played. And this is how we lost our government, because the corporations, they realize that, oh, we're not going to nullify anything. They're not going to nullify anything. Okay, we can be people. Oh, we can be people. And they became people. They bought the politicians. They wrote their laws to make as much money as possible. Not really because they're evil, but because it's the law, right? The SEC has that statement, I think it's SEC, where they actually have to make the maximum profit for their board holder, for the board, their shareholders. And otherwise, it's criminal. And so this is what this is why I'm saying the game is sick. There are no demons in this. There are no demon corporations. I think about Monsanto. Every time I say that, I have to swallow it. But it's the system that's sick. So putting in a Jill Stein isn't going to fix that. They'll run right over her, like it seems that they might be. Putting in a Trump isn't going to fix that, because they'll run right over him, just how they are. Putting in another Obama isn't going to fix that, because they ran over him. So at what point do we really think about history? Recent history. We're not even talking about ancient history. I got some ancient history I want to talk about too, but we're not even talking about ancient history. We're talking about recent history. So it's not about getting behind people who are already in this system. It's about getting behind efforts to completely change the system. We actually have to nullify the federal government and back into its constitutional space of having almost no power. And if we actually do that, then it means people will have say back in how their lives are run. They can elect politicians to make changes in their community or their state because this is how they want to live. They want to be able to use any bathroom that they want. However, all these things that everybody gets so emotional and fighting about. That is how we peacefully have a revolution. That is an intellectual revolution. That is using the powers that are already in place to fix the system. But it really means that you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to get off of your side, your agenda, your bias, who you hate, and just say this whole thing is sick. And we need to fix this whole thing from the bottom up, and we need to rebuild and back the federal government so far back in a corner that maybe we do make changes to the Constitution. Maybe we do. Maybe that we need some amendments and some fixes, and the states together want to work on that, and maybe we write a new Constitution. Maybe 30% of the states don't want to go with that Constitution, and they want one that's a little slightly different. Maybe the union does break up. Maybe that's what's best for the world. I don't know. I honestly, I think if we polled people all over this world that were living in states that are under the oppressive boot of the American banking regime, and it's not America, it's just banks and oligarchs, but that are under that boot, I almost guarantee you that poll is going to come back over 90% of people okay with America breaking up. I'm not saying America should break up. I'm just saying that if we are at a place where we have such diverse communities of people where they want to live different ways and they don't want to live that way and they want to make some changes, why not let them make the changes? I'm a data person, right? Like, I'm a show me person. Don't tell me, show me. I want to see the data. I'd love to see all 50 states go in 50 different directions. I think that would be the best thing for the world, and I think that would be the best thing for America. But I'd also love to see those 50 states stay together and just go back to agreeing on the Constitution and leaving everybody alone. There might be some states that don't want to have a Second Amendment. That's okay. Why is that such a bad thing? If that's not your state and that's how they want to live over there, then let them live that way. Now, me personally, I'm not going to live I'm not going to live in a state that doesn't have a Second Amendment because I don't trust y'all. But that gets back to my, my issues growing up. I was not raised to trust the establishment. They did some real bad things to my relatives going back. So I don't trust that. And I want my ability to go get a submachine gun if I need to, because you never know who might come to my door. But it might be that you have a state that takes out the Second Amendment and you have your Constitution and you have your 4 states that do that as a little nation or a little union or something. And I look at you like, man, you know what? I was wrong. Wow. They got rid of the Second Amendment, and their kids are happy over there. There actually is less gun violence. This actually works. They modified their system and maybe how their people think, so it is less violent over there. Damn it, baby, pack your bags, you know, and we're gonna move, you know. But that's how it works when you don't use violence to force other people to live how you want to live. And that's some of the genius in the founding fathers that wrote this, is that we have the ability to change. This is why America is the greatest nation in the world. I know my international friends like, no, it ain't. Start flipping out. To me, it is. To me, it is because we have whittled in it the ability to change it anytime we want. And it's just information. Information is power, which is why they don't like people talking. And they don't like information like this getting out. This is why they don't teach kids civics in school anymore. And they don't teach them that we're a republic, because they don't want information and ideas getting out. They want to sit in Washington and make every decision for 250 million people, decisions that affect 7 billion people. So I think we have a way out, but we have to invoke it. We have to invoke it. I love me some Jill Stein. And if she actually started talking nullification, then maybe she'll earn my vote back. I have my issues with the Green Party. I won't go into it, you know, but to me, this isn't politics. And this is why I'm really interested in where we go from here. You know, this is about human rights. This is about restraining a country that's rogue, that the people don't control over it. We have a dictator. His name is not Trump. His name wasn't Obama. His name wasn't Clinton. We have a dictator that's faceless. We have no idea who actually runs our nation. And so we got to make some non-violent choices to make that happen. Let me see what y'all are talking about. If not, I had some ancient archaeology stuff, something that fascinated me. I want to look at, put in front of y'all. Lynn said, "You're so smart." No, I'm not smart. You know what, Lynn? I listen to smart people and I shut up. That's what I do. I'm not smart. I think that I finally, over 40, figured out that when someone is smarter on a topic than you are, and even though you may disagree with them, you may not like how they look, you might not like where they're from, shut up. Shut up and listen. And I shut up and listen. I shut up and I listened to the 10th Amendment Center, because what they were saying made a lot of sense. I listened to Ron Paul. What he said makes a lot of sense. I listened to, you know, to Jill and Bernie and even Trump on some things, right? The vaccines and stuff. They all got something. Obama would clean up the Washington. They all got something. But we're not supposed to join a side. We're supposed to take a little piece of that, and a piece here and a piece there and a piece there, and say, okay, this is some common damn sense. So no, I'm not smart. Well, I hope I'm smart, but more than that, if you know something that I don't, then teach me. Teach me. I'm not here to teach anybody. This is not what my little, whatever this is about. This is about people talking, sharing information, and us learning. Nobody should be above the law, not even, all right, we did that one. Yes, exactly. Federal funds, they need the federal funds. What's going on, brother Travis? Monster and Bully America is right. Controlling it is a fantasy. We have been trying to do that since inception. Not enough people are awake at the same time and on the same page. I could open it up. Willing to speak out, not afraid of retaliation. In fact, the control of media makes the truth a cloudy, muddy fiction. Yeah, it does. And but that's how they control people, right, brother Travis? Like, that's how they got everybody scared, because they control what they think. They control their information. And if you can control the amount of information a human being gets, no matter how intelligent, smart, brave, whatever they may be, you can make an utter fool out of them. You can make them scared. You can make them happy, sad. And this gets back into that Facebook AI, where they're actually, you know, where you had to do the thing where you say, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that. And they were speculating, they were turning on the camera, and it was trying to drive and see if it can take someone who's having a happy day in the morning and make them sad by the end of the day by the amount of things that appear on your thread. You know, information is everything. Oh, there was a good quote. They were talking to Brother Travis. I think they said, information is power, but it's only power if that information is limited, right? If the information is there and it's free and everybody has it, then there's no power in that information. But if you have that information and you keep it from everybody else, that's how you have power. And that's anti to, I think, how the human race is designed to work. We're designed to work as a collective. And so I kind of look at, yeah, I mean, they absolutely are they are in fantasy land and they are being controlled, but it's information and waking them up, which is why they're so hard on social media and they're so hard on the media. They've already got, well, they're not hard on the mainstream media. They already got them lock, stock, and barrel, which is why I constantly say, turn your television off, turn your television. Don't watch that damn thing. I mean, watch a silly show if you want, watch a sitcom, but absolutely do not watch any of the news at all. And with social media, same thing. Like, and here's a good social media example with nullification. You actually could propose a law in your state. We used to write laws, right? I was with the group. We would write the law, hand it to the legislators. Now, of course, they take credit for it. You can write the law. In fact, I think it's on Nullification Center. You can actually go out there and they have templates of laws already. And the brother, I forgot his name, but he'll actually help you write the law for your state to give to your legislator and get people going. But maybe we start writing laws at the state level that prevent social media that operate in that state from censoring. Imagine that. We prevent them from banning people. We prevent them from or we give them rules for how they do that. Maybe we say, if you're going to broadcast social media in our state through our ISPs, and it may not be a law for the social media, it might just be for the ISP, that you can't broadcast pornography. I know it made a whole bunch of people mad. They're like, oh, did he say pornography? Cut, I'm off. But maybe you determine in that state that, you know, we're a real conservative state or we're a real liberal state or whatever. And we don't want, you know, this particular content is explicit, like how they call me explicit. I don't know where they get this stuff from. It's so silly, you know, but how they label my videos explicit. Maybe we determine in our state that if you're going to operate Facebook in our state, Google, Twitter, whoever, ISPs, you have to only allow broadcasts that are not explicit. You know, so that's another way nullification can kind of work in that. But yes, Brother Travis, I agree. It's control is everything. It is everything. And they control people's minds by the data they have. Doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how many, you can have degrees up the wazoo. If someone controls the media, the information you get, they control you. They can make you happy, sad, angry, mad. They form your whole reality. It is why I don't get upset at people who disagree, because a lot of times they're just being controlled. Random acts of planting, random acts of planting free the plants. Oh, random acts. But yes, Jasmine, you need to make some seed bombs, girl. Get your seed bombs going, start throwing them everywhere. Y'all need to be throwing cannabis seed bombs, but don't say I said that. that might be against the law. You might not be able to say that. But it's a silly idea that they ban a plant. They wage a war on nature, and anybody's clapping for that. I really don't process and get that. A plant that we've eaten. I'm not a cannabis person. I've never eaten cannabis in my life, and I've never smoked. I always got to put that disclaimer out, because people, they think that you're some sort of a, you know, I am definitely an impartial source when it comes to that, unbiased. I don't like smoke. I don't want smoke in my lungs. But if it helps you, I'm all for you, right? If eating it allows you to deal with your pain instead of drinking brandy because you have hip pain. I got a brother that comes in, I talk to him all the time. He's in his 80s and he's just got so many back problems, leg problems. They got him on Percocet. He's popping these pills. He can barely even get up in the morning. He's in so much pain. And the idea that he can't grow some medicine and smoke it or eat it or whatever to make him feel better, it's crazy. But if the states actually tax that and they make money for that, then they can get off of the federal nipple. Now we got some solutions. And to me, that's what a green party, because the damn plant's green. I'm gonna go back to the plant. That's what the damn green party's supposed to be doing, because it's green. So, but it's not about cannabis and it's not about hemp. It's actually about freedom. When the states have the freedom to make their own decisions without being forced around by a federal government. When people are allowed to self-determine in communities, you have freedom. When you have freedom, you have happiness. Free people don't like violence. Free people don't take up guns and go murder people. Free people help you out, and that's where we got to get to as a society. Um, and so the great thing too, you think if we start limiting the power of the federal government, when the federal government becomes cash poor and they can't afford all this surveillance and all these policing groups, these illegal private armies, the DHS and FBI, CIA, they can't afford to destabilize other countries and get people killed. They can't afford to back Israel up, give them all kind of nuclear weapons and play around with Palestine and all this crazy stuff that they're doing. We then can change our state to whatever we want. Me personally, whatever state gets closest to the zeitgeist movement, whatever state gets closest to using automation to actually help people instead of make profit, that's the state I'm gonna move to. I actually believe that that is the future of the human race. We have to be at a point where we're not in competition with each other. We're in competition with nature. We're in competition with the cataclysms that always wipe us off the face of the planet. Yes, and thank you, Mary. Corporations are more powerful than people. Corporations have more rights than people, and corporations don't go to prison because we're too busy fighting each other over gun control. We're too busy fighting each other over health care. We're too busy fighting each other over race and all the silly stuff that we talk about. We have to grow the hell up. And that's when we can take power from the federal government, unconstitutional powers they don't have to begin with, and actually make some kind of a change. We need to send Maryland over the bridge. We need to send Maryland over the bridge and take back DC and burn the Capitol and remove the bricks of institutions, free the Bastille, rise the people. Yeah, oh well, okay, hang on, Jimmy. Hang on, brother. This is let me go back to the other. This is a love revolution, brother. This is a love train. No, we're trying to do this in a way that we don't get millions of people killed, right? I mean, to be honest with you, like I was saying a minute ago, if America had a revolution, I believe wholeheartedly it would be the end of the world. It would be the end of the world. Because if America didn't have the ability to maintain its base, its weapons, its military all over the planet, all the borders that it tries to keep on its little colonies and slave colonies, all that stuff that it does, those people would revolt too. Other nations would invade other nations. The world would get destabilized. Those who had the little short-range nukes would probably be using them because America's so busy fighting its own revolution. An American violent revolution is the end of the human race. That's how it goes. So we don't want that. We can take power from Washington and give it back to the people. We just have to be smart about it, and we got to stop fighting each other. Homeschooling kids is a revolutionary act. Yes, it is, Lynn, and maybe that's where we need to go. We need to have states that have completely wide open homeschooling. The education departments are huge. Why do people want to homeschool? Because education sucks. If you're a teacher, I love you to death. And understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that teachers need to go back to being teachers. Why? Because when teachers can be teachers, you're a professional. Why do I tell you how to teach? That's dumb. You should be able to teach your classroom the way you chose. You're a professional. Your brain works in a different way. You have different ideas. You traveled to France and England and other places and looked at how they teach Africa and South America, and you got all these great ideas. You come home and you have the best program where kids actually love going to your class. They love education and learning. You teach critical thought. You teach sustainability and empowerment, and you whittle that in math, and you got a little kids all happy about math. We need to know what you're doing, and we need to spread that to other teachers. But that's why, as a collective, we work better when those ideas come from the grassroots and bubble up. And teachers are allowed to be teachers. Police officers are allowed to be police officers, right? When you give professionals the ability to make those decisions, we can, as a public, sit back and say, you know what? We like how you do it. We want you to do more of that. We don't like how you do it. Stop that, but that's how that works. And doing that will allow America to go back to being one of the best nations in the world instead of the nation that has the best design, but sucks jackass. I can say that now. They said that's not a cuss word, y'all. I can say that. That might be my new word. It's a donkey, man. It seems to me the original Constitution is not being followed, and those who are in position of leadership Yes, and so Deborah, the Constitution hadn't been followed in a long time. I think I read something the other day. It said the Constitution, they stopped following the Constitution about 2 minutes after they signed it. That they were already in meetings figuring out how to circumvent it, and that's what power always does. Every state is like its own country. Yes, Lynn, and every state should be its own country. Every community should be its own country. Every neighborhood should be its own country. Every family should be its own country. To me, that's just called self-determination. Leaving people alone. Let people live their lives how they want to, and let their collective ideas and how they live bubble up to a surface and a local government and a state government and eventually a very limited power federal government. We actually get back in control of our government and we shut down all these wars and this military industrial complex and this crazy stuff. You know what'll happen? Russia will stop building. Well, they'll stop building as many weapons. China will stop building as many weapons. This arms race that we have going will start to slow down. Now, maybe Russia might lose their damn mind and start up a new arms race. But if we can stop this arms race, you know how many people would not die because we stopped destabilizing the planet? Like, this is a human rights issue. Nullification, to me, it's a human rights issue. That's what we have to do. That's a love revolution. That is a peaceful revolution. And if we actually started that at a local level, my God, maybe the federal government might smell it. Maybe we don't have to go as far. We succeeded with cannabis. Maybe we succeed in a few other places. They realize, okay, y'all, the rig is up. Oh, damn it. Where y'all put that Constitution at? Somebody got a Constitution. Where's that Constitution at? Oh, damn it. Okay, can y'all print a new one? Maybe Congress will go back and read it. Maybe the Senate will go back and read it. Maybe the federal government will get back on board with people having power. But mostly it means you got to stop with this idea that how I should live my life. You got to stop with this idea because it seems good at the time. I mean, it's all well-meaning and right, and the path to hell is paved with good intention, that you want to tell other people, tell the rednecks what to do. Tell the people in the cities what to do. Stop telling people what to do. Grow the hell up, realize the big picture, and embrace a peaceful solution where we can actually get somewhere. We can change anything. It's a matter of information. Yes, Jasmine, it's all information. It's all information. And we got to share it. The dictator is an alien. What? You're not going to send me down there, Patty. You always send me down to Alien Town. You're not sending me down to Alien Town today. I'm about to wrap up in a minute. I listen till it's time to talk. You can't silence me. Travis, yeah, right. Nobody should silence you. And that's, I'm sorry if you thought I was saying anything about trying to silence. I'm not silencing anybody. The only people I silence is if somebody comes out and they start cussing and they're not adding anything to the conversation. We get smart based on ideas, right? We get smart based on talking about different topics and allowing everybody to put that information forward. We stay dumb by silencing people. So silencing anybody is a mistake. I'll never silence anyone unless you on my page. I had to silence somebody the other day, Travis. The guy called me a pissant. But he didn't have any links. He didn't have any information. He had no facts. He just was pissed off and he didn't like something I said. I'm not a I don't think. What is a pissant? I don't even know what that is. Mama said it's better to be seen and not heard. Yeah, and it is. I think there's a time to be seen too, Sandra, and then there's a time to be heard. And largely, I guess you got to figure out where you are in that situation, in that topic, whether it's better to be seen or heard. There are times when we need to just be quiet, be in our space and listen. And then there are times that we need to step out and speak. But we should never be stepping out and speaking, I think, if we don't have all the facts on that topic, right? We don't have enough of them. When someone comes forward with some more information, then that's when you stop and you shut up and you listen. And that perfects, that idea that you have. Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. Brother Don, always with the book the book references. Thank you, sir. I love Noam and a lot of what he has to say. I did not read Manufacturing Consent, although I've heard a few things about it. And consent is everything. And that actually is what we are talking about. Self-determination. It's the consent for people to self-determine. It's like rape. Rape is taking away someone else's ability to self-determine. It's no different than slavery. It's no different than gun control. It's no different than healthcare. You know, healthcare to me is different. I believe in universal healthcare, but I don't believe in for-profit healthcare. And I don't believe in forcing the redneck to pay for it. Hold on. I can have a little fun. I ain't gonna pay for no healthcare, damn it. I ain't paying for your healthcare. It's not my thing to do. It's I had a little fun with that one. But he's right. You don't force other people to pay for your health care. Most people actually want to help people. The vast majority of Americans, whether it's the redneck or the person you don't like in the ghetto, the thug, whoever, the conservative, whatever, liberal, most people actually want to help people when people ask for help. That's how the human race works. But when you demand, when you take away their ability to consent and you force what you want to do on them, which is why I'm not on gun control. I am not at all. I'm not on any of these initiatives because they're violence. When you take away a person's consent, it's violence. That's war. And I don't pretend that it's not war. You look at it like, oh, I'm trying to help the kids, your perspective, and I get that because you see these people who are hurt. But the other side doesn't see that. The other side sees that you're taking away their consent and you're walking in their house and you're taking what they feel they need to keep their family safe. That's called war. That's violence. You know, we got to get away from violent solutions. And that's my position. And until someone tells me something that makes more sense, I'm not going to change that. I don't think sentient and intellectual beings make violent solutions. I think that is a narrative that's passed down from the top to get people to fight over something that's emotional. And they're not going to give up their guns anyway. I agree with freedom of information. That's why censorship is my #1 issue. Yes, Travis, you know what? If we actually get past the censorship and people can actually talk, I think everyone starts to realize how much we have in common. When people realize how much they have in common, they realize how little they have in common with the 0.01%. And that's when we start to get somewhere, is when people start to empathize and they get past their ignorant stuff. Like, oh boy, I got into it yesterday. I was trying to explain to people, I have white nationalist friends. Yes, I do. I have friends who said they were Black Panthers. Somebody not the other day, it was a couple months ago, I posted a video when I talked to him. And he confessed to me. He's like, yeah, I used to be a white nationalist. I moved away from it. And you start explaining, you know, how did that happen? It wasn't intended to happen. Right? I don't, wake up and say, I want to go make friends with somebody that doesn't like me. No, it didn't happen. We ended up in a venue and we didn't really, I guess he knew who I was, but I didn't know who he was. And we started talking. And, next thing you know, we had an initiative we were working together on in a protest. And we stuck through it. We met a couple times and we actually became good friends because we kept going to protest together. And I like to think that he's not in a white nationalist group now. But the point is he was just a guy, right? A guy raised in an area, never hurt anybody in his life that I know of. Sweet guy, good guy. But he was given certain information and he thought that this was the solution. And so he did that. Me, I'm not about experiments. This is my stance on white nationalism and Black Pantherism and whatever isms you want to put out there. As long as you're not violent, it's not my place to tell you how to think. That's your place. It's my job as a human being, hopefully, to give you some more information and maybe take and help some of those concepts. It's my job to show you that maybe Black people aren't all crazy, that we all don't have big afro. What did Brother Jimmy say in the video? I thought all Black people was crazy and had afros. And they were going to stick me with a knife and call me names and stuff, Then you come to find out that that's not the case. He ran into that Black pastor, just had nothing but jokes and love for him. When you show people love, which is what I think is it Black History Month? I don't know what Black History Month is. I celebrate my ancestors, all of them, of all races, all the damn time. So, but that Black History Month or day comes around, everybody wants Martin Luther King this and Martin Luther King that, and all these memes start going out, and Gandhi this and Gandhi that, and how much we respect him and love him. They're so intelligent. He was our leader. If he was your leader, then why don't you believe what he taught? He taught that you don't fight hate with hate. You don't fight hate ignoring it. You're not actually giving a platform to hate by talking to it. Those are ignorant concepts your leaders pass you who A lot of them do tend to be minorities because they have books to sell and they have careers to make. So they get you doing something that's an experiment or something they know won't work because it's never worked in the past, instead of embracing what Martin Luther King taught or Gandhi or anybody who actually fixed this problem, who actually showed the people that, hey, we're not bad people. You know, if you're Jewish, don't hate me. I'm not a bad person. If you're Christian, listen, I don't believe the crazy stuff that these people over here believe. My God taught love. That's not, and if you show people that the beliefs they have are wrong, then you're actually solving a problem. You're giving them more information. You're not forcing them to leave their group. I just believe if you don't like me because of my religion, or you don't like me because of my race, or you don't like me because of the car I drive, or whatever, I'm okay with that. I don't have any, I worked in a corporate America, a place with multiple decades where I knew people hate me. I knew they hated me. Mary come in and smile. She hated my guts, but that's okay. I'm a hypocrite if I say I like Martin Luther King, but I don't support what he did. I'm a hypocrite if I say he's my leader and I'm not living what he spoke, because I'm listening to my ignorant leaders at the current time, experimenting with the population because they want to keep people divided and fighting. I need to live what he talked about. And that's why I have friends who I think currently are white nationalists and used to be. You don't have to like me. I'm fine. I love you. You don't have to like me. I'm not going to force you to, but I am going to do my best to try to show you I'm not a bad guy. I'm going to do my best to listen to you. I'm going to do my best. If you got some pain stuff that you want to put out, I'm going to listen to you. Brother dropped some pain on me the other day. We hugged it out. Tears coming all out of his eyes. I didn't know him I saw him a few times, but he felt that he could talk to me. You got a lot of people in this world in pain. Don't be so ignorant that you don't open your heart up to their pain. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not gonna go down that far, but I just explained that it was not my intent. I'm not like the brother who what is his name? The brother who went out and would go to the Klan meetings. I'm not him. That brother's a little too far from me. It was an accident. And the interesting thing that I learned from it was that, number one, they're not all violent. In fact, very few of them are. Number two, a lot of them tend to, the behavioral scientists, right? A lot of them tend to come from impoverished communities, right? And then a group gives them hatred for you. And so you can either prove what that group taught them is right, that you are ignorant and you don't give a damn about them and you won't listen to them. You have no interest in solving their problems. You reinforce what the Klan's teaching. You reinforce that message and you actually make more white nationalists. Is that what you want? That's what your leaders want. Why? Because they can sell more books that way. They can destabilize communities and build platforms and become politicians on destabilizing communities because you don't actually give a damn about what Martin Luther King actually taught and did. Sorry, I'm done with that. I won't say nothing more on that. Done. See what somebody else is saying. A couple more minutes, then I get out of here. Our state representatives are owned by corporations in Kansas. They are specifically owned by the Koch brothers. Right, Alicia? And that's how we fix this. See, if we know that the Koch brothers own these couple brothers, these politicians, we get our own politicians. We start spreading that message. All the money in the world can't stop true information, right? If people are willing to talk and share this information, like, listen, you know what? I don't agree with you on 90% of what you say, but we agree that corporations run our government. So we need to put in politicians that are going to nullify the ability of corporations to be people and to own governments. I mean, I have my perspectives on corporations. I honestly, I don't think they should exist. Like it's my libertarian background. It's not my libertarian background. It's my human rights background. But no, this is the opposite. This is why I disagree with the libertarians in that aspect. Corporations shouldn't exist. I don't think that there should be a competition to take money from people based in anything other than helping the human race. Here's an example. I was thinking about this the other day. I saw a news article. They're talking about the smart house. Smart house, right? People got the smart houses. Go in, you smartphone, turn your lights on, do this, do that, call this, turn that, and say something to the wall, turns on this. All of this smart technology evolving. We have smart houses. We're so wealthy we can live like this. I'm against the whole damn concept. I am. And the reason why I am is because I I don't have an interest in corporations making technology to make people lazy and dumb them down, cater to their convenience in wealthy nations. I don't, when they need to be doing something else, right? Supply meets demand. If we demand more laziness, we get more laziness. Why should I have laziness, and why should I be embracing smart houses and all of this crap, junk, asteroid dust, if people in other nations can't have dumb food? That's why. I don't want a smart house yet, because people can't have dumb food. I want those corporations, we are a family. Why is it so cool when my friends come in my house and I say, turn on the TV, and the TV cuts on, and now I can watch on TV some baby starving in Yemen, some child that doesn't have fat on its body, and you can see most of its skeletal structure at the age of 3. Why is that so cool to my friends that I can tell my TV to turn on? So I don't want a smart house till they have dumb food. And this is the problem with making corporate, and this is not a corporation problem. It's a system problem, right? Because they're going to make whatever we want, and we want to be lazy. And I don't think we should be lazy. I think technology and automation needs to be deployed from a human rights perspective, not a greed perspective. And when you allow money to be the basis of corporations, they're always going to do that. So I limit my technology. I got a smartphone, but I won't replace it. I get it till it's cracked, broken, falling apart, and I push through it till I get the next one, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. And I'm still a hypocrite. We all are in their various ways. But we all have to try a little harder. I think we all just have to look at our lives, because I'm not telling you where in your life you want to do your smart house, do that. Maybe you can not buy the smart car. Maybe you can reduce that. However you do your part, you do your part. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, That's where we got to go. Let me get down to the last couple comments. I'm going to run. Ending war seems like common sense. It is, Jasmine. It's common sense if we want to stay here. The world is sick of us. This is not terrorism that we're fighting. We're fighting people who want to be left the F alone. And the more desperate those people get, the more desperate their children get, the more they see their parents are dying. Eventually somebody's going to do something that's going to set off the world. So I think it's common sense that war is a bad idea, but not just big war, right? Not just national war, but neighborhood war. Forcing your neighbor to live the way you want them to live through legislation, that's war too. So we get back to consent, right? We get back to nullification, citizen rights, people being allowed to live peacefully any way they want on their land. That's what our country was always about. And you say this in a way that sometimes people, they take it the wrong way. But if you really don't like the idea of self-determination and people living the way they want to live, maybe America isn't the country for you, right? Because that's what the Constitution is for. That's why this nation was formed. I'm not saying leave. I don't say stuff like that. I'll go along with whatever y'all want to do. I live here until I get tired, then I'm going to leave. But I want to live in a free nation before I die. That would be nice. We are not a free nation. In New Orleans, local politics are super corrupt. Yeah, Grace, and we can handle that. We can handle that, but we got to stop blaming the other populace, right? We can change these things anytime we want, but we got to stop fighting the neighbor. We got to put away our ego and our arrogance and telling them how to live and stand up for their rights, even the ones we don't think they should have, because they're called rights. They're supposed to have them, and more focus on the bigger problem that this government that we live under is corrupt. Gabrielle said, teachers can't teach because there are too many different learners in one class. The classroom is not homogeneous enough. Kids should be grounded by similar ability, learning style. Oh, all right. I can't read the whole thing, girl, but I agree. Totally agree. I'm complete agreement that the fact that putting 30 kids in a classroom is one of the dumbest ideas going. I totally agree with you. I think kids all learn in different ways, and classroom maybe shouldn't be bigger than 5 people, but if the kid wants to go color, I believe let them go color. They want to go play with some snot and yeah, you never know doing that. That noise might be the right vibration that makes their brain do what it needs to do. Homeschool your kids. You can homeschool them, and nobody can tell you what to do with your children because they're your children. But if you want to send them to a classroom with 50 kids, whatever, because you're working 3 jobs, then okay, do that too. But self-determination, not telling other people what to do. Use your thinker. Yes, Lynn, people got to use their critical thought. They got to use their brains and stop just repeating talking points. In fact, the good thing is more and more, the talking pointers, they got less to say and they're saying less because the more and more they're saying, the more we are all comparing information, they have less to say because it's obvious that they just have a talking point. There's no real thought behind that. It was the politician had a scheme behind that talking point, but when you bring it to a critical thinker on our level, you don't really have much to say. It's just a talking point and it gets destroyed right away. Got to use your thinker. I like how you said that. Got to use your brain, got to be a critical thinker. And you also got to know when to shut up and listen too. Um, we we to get Democrats, we need. Oh, I guess you're saying we need to get the Democrats out of California. Patty, I don't know. I think the more voices you have, the better. I mean, the Democrats have a message, like the Republicans have a message, like the liberals have a message, like the conservatives. Like you don't form a group on total ignorance. You form a group on them having a point. Now, I think that they all have little points and they have major corruption, but you have to listen to that little point. And if you want to form another group, then you take that little point that makes sense and you form another group or you incorporate in your group. And that's how we get better. But, I don't know that we need to group up necessarily. I think it's just that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. And okay, so 60% of this group, what they say makes sense. The other 40% is corruption, so I'll go with that. No, that's stupid. I think you have to look at it and say, this group makes sense. I'm going with you. And if you don't make sense, then I'm not going with you, you know? All right. I just bought manufacturing consent. I haven't started reading it yet. All right, brother Trav. So we want to hear from you. So when you read it, start feeding back the details. We need to. It's how we get somewhere. We have to process that information. So brother, I appreciate it. Process that information and feed it back so we can all be smarter. I can't read everything. My book list is ridiculous right now. It's about finding common ground. Yes, Renee. And if we don't find common ground, Renee, if we don't find common ground, we're gonna find a common ground. We can either find a common ground on topics and freedom and liberty and all that great stuff, human rights and helping each other, or we're gonna find common 6 feet underground. That we have a common. We're gonna get the common ground whether we like it or not. We're gonna get the common ground in an intellectual way, or we're gonna get the common ground in a nitrate microbiology feeding the graveyard way. Brother Bjorn said money has the upper hand. That is a fact. Yeah, money does have the upper hand, which is why the way my brain processes and everything I've said, everything I've seen, it says money shouldn't exist. It says the human race actually went wrong when we invented money. Evolution stopped when we invented money because at that point we weren't doing things as a collective to help each other. We began doing things to get more from others, to take in money, to get more money, to hoard more money. And so I think money actually broke the human race. And I'm not saying money can't exist because that sends people off into cuckoo land. I just don't think money should be involved when it comes to decisions that involve human life. I think that's a mistake. You like how I think? Thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate that. Yeah, that smart house. That smart house is burned down. Burning down the house. Are you singing a song? Is that burning down the house? Take back to the 80s. Don't make me dance on Bernie. Boycott capitalism. Lynn, I agree with you, but can we burn down capitalism, socialism, and communism too? Can we burn them all down? Can we look forward? Like when I say burn down capitalism, I piss off the capitalists, and so I'm trying to don't want to offend people, right? Can we say let's take what's best in capitalism, let's take what's best in communism, take what worked in socialism, and not go back to any of the systems that did not work, and like merge into something that does work? I think somebody said it the other day, like it's not unregulated capitalism, unfettered capitalism. There's a big word. One of y'all smart people know what it is. It's the type of, like America is not actually a capitalist country. America is like this merge between capitalists and socialists, and it's like a looting operation. I like how Brother Albert said it's a looting operation where there's schemes and bribery and payoffs, and it kind of looks like a capitalist system, but it's not true capitalism. Libertarians explain it, better than I can. Start getting ready for spring by my garden. Yep. Oh, I was planting my garden the other day. I was planning it out what I'm growing this year. We going big on tomatoes this year, girl. We gonna do some because I want to do some canning, and I like what are the dried tomatoes? The dried, they just really sweet. I forgot what you call it. My brain's not working this morning, but I like those. I want to learn how to do that. Gerard, I wish you would give us some tips on easy gardening to start. I'll do that. Spring is coming. We will do that. I think I was trying to figure out how to break these videos up into ways that make sense. There are people who are interested in ancient archaeology only. There are people who are interested in UFOs and aliens and government secrets only. And there's people that are interested in like the politics and stuff. And there's human rights. And then I got my green folks who just are interested in gardening. I'm trying to figure out how to break the video. It's hard because to me, I just see it's all related. Like I think it's all like human stuff, and we all need to. And I don't like to spend too much time in any of it. So, but I'm gonna at some point just start breaking videos up and just speak to one point of it. But right now, to me, it kind of makes sense that we merge all this stuff together because they're all related to human rights. All of those topics, they're all related to human rights and moving forward and restarting human evolution. So I kind of have them all together. Thank you. Somebody said sun-dried tomato. I love me some sun-dried. I had a pizza the other day, slice of pizza, sun-dried tomatoes. Ooh, boy, that's heavy. You bite that thing. It almost made me stop crying from Jill, but nah, I was still crying. Let me go down to the bottom and wrap this up. Brother Travis said, I wish I could see all the comments. Yeah, Travis, they are doing that. They're censoring from a comment level. I noticed that when you go on live streams, for some reason, certain people can't see other people's comments. I was watching, who was I watching the other day? I think I was watching, it was either Harsh Med or it was Chris. I forgot who I was watching, but it was Harsh. I think it was Harsh. Oh, it was Chris. I don't know who it was. But anyway, Travis. Well, I had one going in the bedroom and I was like listening in there and I had to run in the kitchen to do something. So I took my smartphone in there and I had it playing in there. And then I think I got something to eat or whatever I did. And I went back and I noticed the comments on the smartphone were different from the comments on the webpage. And the view count was similar. So I'm not going to hate on the view count, but it's obvious that the actual person doing the video, the comments they see are limited, and the people who are watching the videos, their comments are, and it could be a software thing. I don't want to go too far down the conspiracy road. It could just be a software glitchy thing, but it looked pretty consistent that there were only comments from certain people. Like if it were a glitch in the software, I would expect to see every couple of comments from random people, but it looked like it was methodical where they were actually blocking comments from certain people so other people couldn't see those comments. Like I can see certain friends coming in and I know that these are very talkative people and I don't see them post any comment. To me, that, and someone actually told me too that they were blocking her comments. So something's going on. Y'all can like take that, do what you will with it, but they are doing multiple means of censoring. But again, that's something that nullification can handle, but it means we got to have a revolution and it has to be based in love. This is how the world goes back to being the world, and those countries go back to being self-determining without American influence and the CIA and war and forcing them to live the way we do. And so just as we live as a republic here and the best ideas bubble to the top for the community, the best ideas and types of government in the world can bubble to the top around the world if we stop pushing debt-based solutions on everybody that absolutely don't work. So anyway, way over my time. All right, you guys, hey, listen, good hanging out with you this morning. Just kind of think about that. I mean, cannabis, they pushed the way and they solved it for us. They've proven that they can stand down the federal government if we get behind something as a larger community. And so nullification is the way to put government, federal government, back in its box so we can enact the things that people talk about. Like they talk about term limits and getting the big money out of politics and all these other things that no damn president will ever be allowed to pass. No Congress, no Senate will ever pass it. These are things that the states actually have to do, but the states can't do that based on how the Constitution, how the government's orchestrated, the checks and balances. They can't do that if the communities don't own the communities. And if the communities don't own the states, and the states determine what the federal government can and can't do. Anyway, y'all check out the 10th Amendment Center. Awesome website, awesome brother who posts videos. He hadn't posted, well, I think he posted one about 5 days ago, but I hadn't watched him in a while. I forgot his name. Good brother, real intelligent brother, but nullification is the way out because nullification so far is the only thing that can't stand up to the federal government. The terrorists can't do it. Jill Stein can't do it. Trump didn't do it. Obama can't do it. The Democrats won't do it. And the Republicans, they're not going to do it neither. Y'all, love y'all to death. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.